Star Wars, both officially and in the fan base, seems to have a weird problem where everything kind of gets taken at face value. It seems like it's impossible for a character to make a statement and, even if they're clearly joking on one hand, have a biased perspective on the other, or just lack some sort of crucial information on a third hand. What they want to say seems to always just be taken as fact. Sometimes this happens in a really small and insignificant way, sometimes it happens in a universe-altering way, and sometimes it happens in a way that gets the fanbase super worked up about something. There was a book we covered a few months ago on tap-calf transmissions, and I unfortunately forget which one, where some character made a comment that was clearly meant to be a generalized, sarcastic statement about going and retiring somewhere, I think it was. So I decided to go to the Wikipedia entry for the character, and this clearly not intended to be factual thing was essentially the only information on the page. More recently, I've been rereading the Dark Nest Crisis trilogy by Troy Denning, and once Han and Leia get pulled into the conflict with the Killiks, Han gets to thinking about Leia's role in the galaxy, since there's a bit of a through line with him thinking he's holding her back from being involved in galactic politics again, and we get this passage from Han's point of view. She wore the same enthralled expression she'd often had as New Republic Chief of State, poring over a report on an initiative to feed hungry natives on Gottle Goob, or as rebel leader studying a cruiser buildup on Farbog. It was a look Han had not seen since the end of the war with the Yuuzhan Vong, when the challenge of combat had faded to the drudgery of reconstruction, and they'd retreated into the Falcon to build a smaller, more private life together. So maybe you can see where I'm going with this. To me, it seems obvious that Han isn't intended to be thinking of a specific instance. He's just, in a very Han way, thinking about the kind of things Leia used to do and using kind of dismissive planet names or just general ideas of what she used to do, because to him that wasn't the point of what he was thinking of, and it wasn't really something that he'd been that tuned into in the specific places. Yes, Star Wars has a very weird set of planet names, but in this case it really just seems like the kind of thing Han would do or think of, especially Farbog, just being the words far and bog put together, kind of like putting a name on the middle of nowhere. So naturally I went to check Wikipedia, and of course the cruiser buildup on Farbog gets listed there, and the food shortage of Gottle Goob does as well. I was ready to just talk this down to overzealous recordings on Wikipedia. It's a kind of vague thing. It could go either way, really. And maybe Troy Denning did intend it to be real planets, but there was an additional listing for the citations beyond just Dark Nest. Both planets had also been listed in the Essential Atlas. I'd have to assume this was just something that got quickly noticed and noted in the holocron that Lucasfilm used to keep track of info, and then it just was in that database forever. The Essential Atlas got made, and it was just there. There are also a lot of cases where, when making the essential guides, a lot of the authors of those do like to put in kind of funny or silly things, or just kind of take shots at the fan base with that kind of thing, so that could be another option as well. So this is obviously a really minor example. It was more of an eye-roll moment for me, but I think there's been some similar events which have resulted in kind of overblown reactions or fan anger, especially when it comes to characters talking from their own perspective. One of the bigger ones in recent memory were a couple years ago in 2019 when the Doctor Aphra series of comics in New Canon included a character named Patina Vor. The particulars of her story aren't especially relevant here, but the short version is that she portrays Palpatine as an incompetent idiot and kind of takes credit for holding the Empire together herself. Because of these claims, a bunch of people on the internet got very upset and tried to say Dr. Aphra was retconning Palpatine to be an idiot, ruining Star Wars, and that this was now the new story. Rather than understand that this was an example of a character talking from their own point of view, they were very quick to approach it from the idea that everything said by every character within the universe must be taken at face value. There was definitely also an element of certain news outlets trying to take this and create an overblown reaction because that generates clicks. And while the whole Gottle Goob and Farbog thing was just, I thought, a kind of funny instance that got me going down this rabbit hole, the Doctor Aphra one, I think, is an example of something that's actively harmful to the community, and it's something that a lot of online content creators end up resorting to. It's especially weird to me that people wouldn't understand that this could be a thing more in a universe where we start off with the mentor character, Ben Kenobi, just straight up lying or misrepresenting facts throughout the original trilogy. Now, some of this is the result of changing plans throughout the original trilogy's development, but the underlying principle is the same. Sometimes when characters are saying something, they are just saying what it is from their own perspective, rather than being an overall statement of how the universe actually is. Either way, that's just something that stuck out to me while doing a stupidly high amount of Star Wars reading this week. If you've enjoyed, consider leaving a like or subscribing for more, and if there's another topic you'd like to see me cover on the channel, please leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.